أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. Today is 28th of May 2026 and it's Thursday. We're going to talk about the Wednesday price action. There was no trade taken, so there is no trade review, but I will review the price action, what happened. And there was one opportunity, but not on the asset which I was looking at, which I chose before the opening. So I looked at both of these charts on daily, and I chose gold to further look at for any opportunity. Both of assets were looking good to me. There was higher time frame, bearish targets, but at that time the gold was looking much smoother to me than the GPUSD, and I will talk about it why it was. So you can see on the pre-market, before the New York session, pre-New York session, we moved very smoothly to the downside, and there was no consolidation at all. Okay, but on the other hand, you can see how we were moving on the GBUSD. So by looking at this, I decided, well, we were here at that time. I'm sorry. So this big candle and this kind of price action, I didn't like that. Comparing to this, and on here, I was on both sides. I was bearish, and I will talk about the reason behind it too. And so yeah, for gold was looking much better than the GBUSD, but in the session, I didn't get any opportunity to trade on gold, but on GBUSD. And there was one thing which was better on GBUSD rather than gold, which were some levels, like more than one level, to get a reason to take a shot. What I mean by this is, on gold, you can see I highlighted two PDRAs on higher time frame. There is this one daily wick, and there is this weekly. Okay, I don't know it's a wick, but it's a gap. It's a daily gap. It's low quarter and just a weekly, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. But on GPUSD, there were more reasons to take a short entry. Now we'll talk about it. Now. Okay, so this green lines, it's a weekly opening gap. It's a very old weekly opening gap. I wish we could see the date of it. I should be setting dates of it and see how we respect it. And there's this weekly opening, weekly upper quarter. So by seeing only quarters and targets, I will be very honest, I was more with JPUSD. I looked at both of the chart for like 5-10 minutes. I was confused. What should I do? There were this so much level at that time. We respected the low quarter. As you can see, we touched the low quarter of the weekly this week, and then we start going to the upside. And one thing which I wanted to see at that time was price respecting the upper quarter, which would be the sign of we going to the downside if there's a bearish setup here. And there was a bearish setup here. We will get into that in a minute. And we went down at least to this low quarter, and then at the very late session we went down. Okay, so but why did I choose gold? Because of the past price action. Okay, and the present price action as well. So at the time, you can see on 5 minutes, there's very dirty price action. We were here at that time, and we were consolidating, and there was no clean structure that we could go, or what kind of a structure is it. So it was very confusing. But at the end, we did took the high plus all this other high, which it already took it, but it was much smoother. And there was this break in market structure 5 minutes as well. Then first, we will get into it. First, let's complete what happened in the gold, which I was looking at, why there was no trade for me. So on higher time frame, I was bearish. On a higher time frame, we were expanding for a downside. We did took this daily weekly low. So it was one thing which was making me expect less. I'll say that we already took a higher time frame liquidity. So I have to be very precise with my entry. I have to not force an entry like this one. It was low quarter and then 15 minute, 5 minute. So I did the right thing. So yeah, I was already alert and was being careful that I'll be looking at a very strong entry, or I will not enter. So what happened after the opening? There was no opportunity for me. Okay, in simple words, there was this. We went to upside 15 minutes. There was no clean breaking to downside, and then we just consolidated, and then I just closed the chart. And at the end of the PM session, like it is considered in the next day, although it is showing a Wednesday here, but it is considered in the next day. I don't know why. So we did move in the PM session very nicely. There was a clean breaking structure formed here, went higher, respect to this loop, but didn't touch this, but took this highs, break to the downside, went higher, then just went down. So for me, the entry was here. Okay, a very so we took the smooth lows, suspected this, went down, and very slight one entry, but there was one entry in the PM. So this was out of my session time. This was the entry. Luckily, I would have gotten the entry 1 minute. So this was the logical entry for me. It's out of the session, so there was no trade. Price did not touch the entry point. So yeah, okay. Let's talk about the main, not the main, the asset which I was not looking at, but there was opportunity here. Okay, and one thing more which made me less, which make me expecting less from the gold at that time was the GPU USD moved to downside, but gold was not moving at that time much. Okay, so yeah, it was not moving at that time. It's 8 a.m. Right? I'm sorry, 11 a.m. So you can see it was not much. There was this. So what happened? We already talked about the important areas. I will let's repeat it. I will repeat for you. I don't know who is watching, but yeah, for me, this is the weekly opening gap. More importantly, there is this upper quarter, of which low quarter we respected. Went higher, no clean price action. Okay, and also no opening yet. After the opening, went higher, took this high, went lower. There was this 1 minute gap. Okay, went lower. They was respected this upper quarter. Take to it also. Respected this upper. There's no propulsion block here. There was this clean breaking market structure. I could enter here. Stop loss would have been on this high or this. Okay, but the better entry would have been the propulsion block, which is more important to me than a clean breaking market. It was slight, very short entry, but there was entry. Okay, went higher. This low, but not this, and then respect to this upper quarter start going to the downside. Okay, this 5 minute gap, 1 minute gap, no retracement. Then at this time there was this 5 minute candle closed. Okay, we were raised to upside, so this was entry for me. Okay, or after close or the next candle. So this was the entry, and the target would have been this low quarter at least, or 2 RR or 3 RR. Okay, but after low, the main target was low quarter. Let's look at the same at same price action on 5 minute chart. You can see we did a 5 minute first present favorable gap, went higher, closed low, no clean breaking market structure. Okay, spent some time, went higher, and then there was this break. Okay, we respected this low. At that time there was clear sign that we respected this upper quarter, or which low quarter we respected already. And with my experience, I have not learned it from anyone, but alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, yes, I'm very grateful that this is yeah, I discovered it that when we respect the low quarter of any gap or wick, low quarter or upper quarter, or the quarter of the any, and then we respect the opposite quarter of the wick or gap, and then there's a entry model. We are going to at least going to that. If there's a huge gap, there was this small gap. This was a very small gap. So in this scenario, we are going to go at least for the low quarter, and you will look at the liquidity as well. And if there's a huge gap, then we target for at least for the CE or the recent liquidity, smooth liquidity. So break to a downside, enter entry. This was my entry. This would have been my entry. If I would have entered here, the stop loss would have been on this upper quarter. On this 5 minute gap upper body, the stop loss could have been on this upper body as well, but this is a small gap, so it's safer to place the stop loss to a better area, or the next logical area. So this was the low quarter. Okay, this was the low quarter. This was the logical entry and exit. So, but I would have looked for 2RR if I get the 2RR as well. So we did in this scenario, in this day, we did get the 2RR, but there are sometimes when we went to the opposite quarter and we respected as well, and maybe we reversed or spent some time in between. So for this, if when we went here, or when we go to the low quarter, just like this, I will place a stop loss very strictly to logically. Okay. So in this scenario, we did went to the downside. I don't know what is this line. I think it's old 50%. So this was the opportunity for me. No, it's a logical 50%. So it was a 4 hour 50%. That could have been a target as well, and see how precisely we went into the discount. We went into discount, then start consolidating, and I don't know why did we how like this kind of a price action is normally in day when there's a news, and after the news there's a price action like this, okay, but there was no news at all, and on gold as well, on silver, sorry, GPU as well. So this was the day, and no trade for me, and I did the right thing on the gold which I was looking at. There was no opportunity, but there was one GPUS on GPUST asset, and I don't have any regret. I choose the asset which was looking better to me, and I will keep this in mind, these areas, and how if a price action is not, even if not good, but the areas are stronger, or the liquidity is left with takedown. So that's important too. So yeah, but I don't have regret. So no trade for me, and this was the Wednesday for me. In the next video, Allah face. No, should I wait a minute? For the thumbnail, I have to. We'll cut this way. Allah Hafiz.